Hey everybody, and welcome back to Mindset Reps. So we've been working on a series of examining fears that may be holding us back from reaching our goals or completing some of the tasks that we want to complete in our lives. But I'm going to ask your permission to take a pause on this series for a minute because I want to cover some things that I feel like are really important that are going on in our world today with everything that's going on with coronavirus. I don't know about you, but I have just noticed this overwhelming feeling of a lot more stress, disappointment, maybe some depressed feelings in some people, and seeing that with a lot of the people that I'm working with as well. And I think that it's really important to take a pause right now and maybe talk about some things that you can do if you are feeling really stressed with everything that's going on in our world right now, not being able to see your families, not being able to go to the grocery stores, the kids aren't in school right now, wondering about finances and all of these different things that can feel really overwhelming. And as you remember last week, we really talked about that sense of overwhelm and a lot of the what ifs that are going on in our world right now. So I want to take a pause today from our series, and I really want to just give you some tools that you can use if you're starting to feel really overwhelmed or you're starting to feel anxious in any way, to be able to apply and hopefully kind of lower some of that anxiety. So my name's Taylor. I'm a firefighter, a therapist, a fitness and resiliency coach, here to bring you weekly tips and tricks to help you transform your mindset one repetition at a time. So today, that repetition that we're going to be focusing on is simple. It's all about breathing. Now, if you've been following Facebook or the web, there's a lot of studies going on right now about the power of breathing. But what I want to talk to you about today is just like a simple trick that you can use to help focus on your breathing and use that to help you whenever you're feeling overwhelmed or you're starting to have some anxious feelings. And the technique that I want to talk to you about is this, what's called square breathing or box breathing. It's used a lot for performance, and it can also be used a lot for just like helping to kind of alleviate some stress and reduce some of those feelings that you might be having. Here is what is really cool about breathing. Sometimes when we start to feel anxious, when our heart rate starts to go up and our blood pressure goes up and our brain starts getting overwhelmed and thinking about all of these different thoughts that are going on, it can cause all of these reactions that are going on with our body. It's almost like a sympathetic nervous system response where all of a sudden we're starting to get into more of that fight or flight because we're starting to perceive some type of threat that is going on in our world that is making us feel some of these stress or anxious feelings. And so when that happens, a lot of times our amygdala, which is our reptilian brain, kind of takes over, and we have these emotional responses to things. And when we're having those emotional responses, we're really not able to think rationally like we normally would in a normal situation. And so what we want to do is we want to try to bring that emotional brain back to a cognitive state by activating more of that parasympathetic response, or being able to kind of think more clearly through what is going on and eliminate some of those like racing thoughts that might be going through our heads. And breathing is a really great way to do this because it helps to kind of calm us down. And the breathing that I'm going to teach you also kind of distracts our mind so that we're not able to think about all of these different things that might be going through our head and contributing to some of our anxiety, right? So what's interesting is I was on a call at one point in time as a firefighter, and we were going on somebody who had a panic attack, and they were really concentrated on what was going on in the breathing and some of the feelings that they were having in their hands and their feet and all of this tingling. And we started talking to them instead about something else that was going on in their room, one of their pets. We were asking them what their name of the pet was. And when we started having these conversations about something else, that person all of a sudden was able to kind of calm down a little bit and take their focus off of the fact that they were having trouble breathing and focus on something else. And what is amazing is they started getting a little bit better, right? So what I want to teach you today is to kind of do the same thing. So we're going to be focusing on our breathing. And this square breathing technique, what it is you are going to be breathing in for 4 seconds. And when you're breathing in, I want you to think about having that breath move all the way from your belly, where you can feel it in your belly, all the way through your lungs and then through your head. So it's a deep breath for 4 seconds. After you take that deep breath, you're going to hold it for 4 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4. And you're going to release it for 4 seconds. And then you're going to hold that exhale again for 4 seconds. Now, while you're doing this, I want you to concentrate on actually counting in your brain while you're doing this. That's going to help you bring that emotional brain back into that cognitive state, to lower your heart rate, to lower your blood pressure, and lower some of those things that you're feeling from those anxious feelings, okay? So we're gonna do this together right now, okay? So go ahead and I want you to breathe in, 2, 3, 4, hold it, 2, 3, 4, exhale, 2, 3, 4, and hold it, 2, 3, 4. If you're able to set a timer and you're able to do this for 1 or 2 minutes throughout the day, it's going to be really beneficial for you, because if you're able to practice this even when you're not feeling some of those anxious and stressful feelings, then it's going to come a lot easier for you to be able to do this when you actually are experiencing those. So really, like, the frequency in which we're practicing some of these mindfulness techniques and some of these things is going to be really, really helpful in rather than the duration that you're actually practicing it. So I'd rather you practice things for 1 to 2 minutes and do it every single day than try to sit down for a 10-minute block where you're not able to complete the exercise. So I know that this is a stressful time. Take a minute today and just sit down and take some time to breathe. And we'll see you back next week, where we're going to be continuing our series on some of the fears that may be holding you up from completing some of the goals or putting off some of those tasks that you know you want to complete. Will you see you then?